We've got some news to cover if you haven't seen it yet. So Erika Kirk just recently went on Fox News, and I wanted to cover that because it's always good to see the general consensus. How does the public feel about Erika Kirk? What's the public perception about Charlie Kirk's widow and how she's gone about things since the murder of her husband? Well, we're not going to play the video because Candace Owens did an open letter to Erika Kirk, and she also reacted to her appearance on Fox News. So we're going to go to that actually. But I do want to read the comments because the comments are important. The comments really give you a little insight into how people feel. And these comments are brutal. So again, Erika Kirk goes on Fox News, talks about the Tyler Robinson trial, which is coming up. Remember, she wants a speedy trial in the Tyler Robinson case. And I do want you guys to remember it's only been like 4 months, maybe 5 at this point, since Charlie Kirk was killed. Normally, with cases like this, you typically don't get like an actual trial to like a year or two after. So people are questioning why she wants the trial to speed up so fast. And then people also bringing up the other fact that she basically goes on Fox News and says, I want full transparency. I want cameras. I want all that. So because I want to completely dispel all of the conspiracies about what happened to her husband, which it would be great if during the trial, some of the questions that a lot of people have been asking actually got answered. Let's actually read the comments. So if you read the comments, you can just see that basically the comments are completely negative. People don't like Erika Kirk. They don't trust her. I completely understand. If you guys remember my history, originally I did speak out against Candace Owens because I thought that what she was doing was wrong and I didn't agree with it. Now, I still don't agree with some things. However, I have been proven wrong and she has been proven somewhat right in this, and I'm going to explain why. I originally said, and this is like months ago that I said this at this point, but I originally said that Erika Kirk is a grieving widow. Going after her is wrong. I don't think it's right. You shouldn't do that. That was my position at first. Then stuff started coming out about Erika Kirk. A lot of weird stuff. The fact that she's a liar, undeniable proof. She's a liar. She lies. Lied about several things. Her parents have ties to defense, like big defense, like Raytheon and all that. She was in like a CIA video or documentary. I mean, the list just goes on. I mean, I'd have to write all this stuff down to remember, but there's like a long list of things that are about her that are just weird. Like I think she has some things to explain, which she won't, which makes it even more suspicious. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. So I'll completely flip. I no longer think that Erika Kirk is this innocent, whatever. Now, I don't think she killed Charlie Kirk. I want to make that clear. I don't think that. But I also don't trust her either. And here's what I do think about Erika Kirk. I do think that her and the current Turning Point leadership is running that company into the ground. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think over time, they're going to run that company into the ground. I really do. Okay. So says here, you can't fake authenticity. When will Turning Point USA be investigated? No amount of money or makeup will hide what's inside. Hearing her talk about authenticity like a robot gives me the heebie-jeebies. Why was Erika at Fort Huachuca? Okay, this person's obviously a Candace Owens supporter. Sometimes when you click on people's profiles, it tells you like what channels they're subscribed to. So I just want to see if this person subscribes to Candace Owens because that is literally something that Candace Owens said. I don't see Candace Owens on here, but I do see Baron. I forgot his name, but he was on Candace Owens' show. And a lot of the things that she says, he kind of says too. Okay. Justice for Charlie, Erika, we don't need you. These comments do not disappoint. Why isn't she being asked about the employees getting fired? You know, her family. Oh, you guys should know this already. Fox News is controlled media. You can't trust them. Of course, they're not going to look, these mainstream media platforms, Fox News, CNN, whatever, although some may be better than others, they're all compromised. You're only going to get the real news from independent journalists. You got to go to the independent content creators and journalists to get the real stuff and get the real hard-hitting interviews. They're never going to ask her stuff like that. All they're going to do is give these guests softball interviews so they can keep coming back. They want Erika to keep coming back to Fox. That's why they give her the softball interviews. They're never going to ask her stuff like that. I would like to know, too, why you fired a bunch of employees, but they're not going to tell you. There is definitely no confusion. A televised Patsy show won't change the truth. Okay. She's more concerned about her pocketbook than taking care of her kids. I agree with that. I think she's more concerned about money than what happened to her husband. And, you know, I won't comment on the kids thing because I don't know what the situation is with their kids. I've heard things, but I don't want to speculate on somebody else's kids. I don't go that far. But I do think she cares more about money than, what's happened with Charlie Kirk. It does appear to be that way. So, yeah, basically all the comments are completely negative. And again, this is Fox News. This isn't under like Candace Owens' YouTube channel or Ian Carroll. Like, this is the Fox News comment section. And yeah, they don't like her at all. So now let's listen to.
And I then said back to him
what Candace Owens had to say. Candace Owens penned an open letter to Erika Kirk. So I wanted to play that and react to it. Here we go.
My husband that day. I want there to always be full transparency, because what I don't want to have happen is for there not to be. And then
let there be light. I mean, at least that was in a nutshell what Erika Kirk told the reporter Trace Gallagher in a one-on-one interview regarding what she is hoping to get out of these court proceedings. She wants transparency. Take a listen.
I want there to be no hesitation in understanding of what happened to my husband that day. I want there to always be full transparency, because what I don't want to have happen is for there not to be. And then I am relying then on social media and other news outlets to explain the narrative, rather than saying, hey, this is what happened. This is what here's all of the, it's just as hard, all of the facts.
See, here's the thing about the trial, though, that I don't think she realizes or anybody realizes. The only way you're going to be able to change the public narrative, because based on everything I've seen, it looks like the public narrative looks like most of the public is kind of at least skeptical. They may not be against Erika Kirk, but they're very skeptical based on just how they went about things after Charlie Kirk's death. When they do this trial, if you want transparency and you want to fully prove and put it to bed once and for all that Tyler Robinson is the one who killed Charlie Kirk, they're going to have to do this a certain way. They cannot mess this up, because if they mess this up, there's only going to be more questions. There is less trust in the official narrative, the media, the government than ever before. People just don't trust the official narrative anymore. And the reason why is because there was a decades-long history of lies, and people are tired of the lies, and people can easily tell when you're lying or when you're, being disingenuous. So if they're going to do this, they're going to have to do it the right way. Otherwise it could really backfire on them a lot. It really can.
On the table for you guys to see, and you guys can see on full display what happened to my husband. And there is no ifs, ands, or buts or confusion as to who did it and why.
I don't believe her at all. That wasn't convincing. I don't know what was hard about getting that sentence out. That seems remarkably rehearsed. It almost just seems like she forgot a line. Nothing in her eyes there makes you believe it. She's telling the truth, but beyond the eyes, just the actions, right? You can judge people by their actions. Erika, if she truly wanted more transparency, she could provide it, because you don't need it in a courtroom. We actually do not need to turn to the courts to have the public understand what happened on that day, because before the courts even got involved, the first people that had access to exactly what happened in 4K, as Tyler Boyer said, was Turning Point USA. They seized the cameras. They could have said, here, I'm also going to have some private investigators take a look at everything and tell them what they think. I was one of the people that called and personally requested to view the tapes. I said, we don't have to release them. I just want to see the tapes. And they were immediately cagey. They've been cagey about information. They've been changing information for saying, oh, I didn't realize that we lied about this or we lied about that. So making this public plea to the courts, I don't know. I think that it stands in stark contrast to the actions that are available to Erika Kirk as the CEO and chairman of this massive organization. But exactly how massive?
Oh, and by the way, just want to say, was I right or was I right? Because if you guys remember, I've been screaming to the mountaintops that Turning Point USA should not sue Candace Owens. It's been weeks now since they sent that cease and desist, and there haven't been any lawsuits. Thank goodness. There really shouldn't be. I'm telling you, they would destroy their company if they sued Candace Owens. It would be so bad. It would be such negative and bad PR. Now, I want to make something clear to you guys too. Don't just watch Candace Owens and the YouTubers who say things about Erika, about how they don't trust her, stuff like that. Make sure you watch the people who are detractors of Candace Owens, because that's what I do. I like to watch both. It gives me the ultimate perspective. And so because I'm able to watch, and there's a bunch of them, there's a whole economy of people on social media, both on Twitter, YouTube, every platform, that make a lot of money and get a lot of views, just basically refuting anything Candace Owens says, because she has such a big following. Obviously, she's got a lot of haters, so those haters flock to that. But my point in bringing that up is all these anti-Candace Owens YouTubers that I've seen, they all advocate that Turning Point USA should sue Candace Owens. And just looking at the comments on the Fox News video, overall public perception that I've seen on social media, I think it's pretty safe to say that if they go about this against Candace Owens, they'll probably lose. Even if they win the lawsuit, which they probably would, because if they sue her for the non-disparagement agreement that she signed with them, yeah, they'd win that. But the damage would be irrefutable. You wouldn't be able to recover from the damage you would incur if you sue Candace Owens. Now, given that it's been a minute since they've actually sued Candace Owens, I'm starting to lean to the fact that they won't actually do it. I think Turning Point USA just got desperate. They tried to do the meeting. That didn't work. They tried to do the cease and desist. That didn't work. I don't know why you would think it would. She's being sued by a whole other country's president, and she don't care. She still says the same stuff about them that she's being sued for. So I think Turning Point USA just kind of panicked. Now, I could be totally wrong. They could end up suing her. But at this point, I'm starting to think that they probably won't. I think they know better. And honestly, that would be the best option. I really don't think that they should sue her. Oh, by the way, she's been making videos about Turning Point every single video. And I told you guys my opinion. If they never sent her that cease and desist and they just ignored it, I think she would have eventually stopped and moved on. I really do. I think she would have eventually moved on. And you all do what you do. But I don't blame Candace Owens personally for the reputational damage that has been done to Turning Point USA. I blame them. The way that they've went about everything and the things that they have done ever since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I really think it is their own fault. And you see this happen sometimes with companies. Sometimes leadership just don't know what to do. And then their true motives become obvious, you know? So let's keep going.
Anyway, I wanted to write this open letter to Erika because I know.
Oh, I want to say something else, because there's this whole thing about they allegedly were selling T-shirts as this memorial. Like, how low can you get? Like, remember that phone call where Erika Kirk was like, hey, we did so well. We had all these merch sales and the company's doing so much better. And I'm so proud of you guys. And everything was just money, 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 money. It was so weird. But like, why are you selling merch at his memorial? Why are you even trying to make money at his memorial? I thought the memorial was supposed to be about honoring his legacy in Jesus. Trying to grift and make money off of his death. I mean, I'm just shocked the amount of people who can't see this stuff happening in real time. It's such a grift. Can you imagine your family member dying and you go to their funeral and the wife is selling T-shirts with their face on it, selling them, not giving them out for free, selling them. Like, what's wrong with this company? They're weird.
That Turning Point USA watches every episode of this podcast, and that people then take what I say back to her and they give her notation. So I would appreciate it if the elves at Turning Point USA just let her see this in its entirety. Here we go. Because more information has become available to me. I am feeling, well, I'm feeling some type of way. Here we go. Ready? Dear Erika, I thought it best to do this publicly. I think public conversations keep everybody honest. And there are some things that certainly need to be clarified because sometimes the gap between the truth and the lie is what happens behind closed doors. You and Charlie began dating in earnest in 2019. And in retrospect, it was accompanied by a season of a lot of change. For one, I was getting married and virtually, therefore, joined at the hip with my fiance. He was sort of a new third wheel at all of our events. A few months later, on May 1st, the public was informed that I was resigning from my position as the communications director of Turning Point USA. Now, there has been a lot of public speculation as to what led to that decision. The media ran with it was anti-Semitism or some disagreement about Kanye West, but that wasn't true. None of that was true. The truth, and I think that you very well know what the truth is, because you were around for it, is that Charlie and I had a disagreement, which fractured my trust in him. He did something that he had never done before. He lied to my face about money. Now, in retrospect, I believe that the manner in which I discovered.
So keep in mind that this is her side of the interaction. I would be very interested to see Turning Point USA's side of this. Like what actually happened during that time when she got fired or left or whatever happened. And did Charlie actually lie to her? And so just keep in mind that this is her side. We don't know the other side.
Thing that he had never done before. He lied to my face about money. Now, in retrospect, I believe that the manner in which I discovered the lie might have been by design, but there's no need for us to delve into conspiracy when the facts are plenty enough. Charlie had taken a meeting down in Florida with Ike Perlmutter at Mar-a-Lago. It was a fundraising meeting. For whatever reason, he did not want me to know about this meeting, and that was strange. It was meant to be kept a secret. Strange because we had always collaborated on and taken those sorts of meetings together. Anyway, I found out about it, and I decided to ask him casually as we were riding up an elevator at the Trump Hotel in DC. I said to him, have you heard from Ike recently? And he looked me right in the face just as he was getting off on his floor. And he said, no, I haven't. I haven't heard from him in like 2 weeks. And I then said back to him, really, Charlie, because you had lunch with him yesterday at Mar-a-Lago. And I saw his stomach drop. His entire face looked, as if he was going down a roller coaster. He stuck his arm back in the elevator really quickly and tried to explain it away. He then pivoted toward an apology, but obviously the damage was done. And if I'm being honest, I was as hurt as I was shocked and confused by it because we were close. We did go back down to the lobby. We sat at a table and we talked. I don't even remember whether or not I was angry. I probably was. That does tend to be my choice emotion. But deep down, there was a part of me that knew that it was coming because of a lot of the new hires that were coming into Turning Point USA post Kanye tweet. Charlie had new people in his ear that were hijacking his ambition, making him believe that money was the truest measure of success. Charlie was a brilliant fundraiser. Everybody knows that, but he was also young. He was naive to what the wrong money could invite into his life. And I warned him. I warned him in that restaurant. I warned him specifically about Stacey Sheridan. Everything about her made my skin crawl. And I suspected she and Tyler had something to do with it. I also warned him about Schaefer Security and Dan Flood. You can check the text messages because you have them. And now I am left wondering, obviously, if Charlie had heeded my advice, if he would still be alive. I've also come to another realization that I missed at that time. Maybe the newest and the biggest influence in his ear. Who was that? Obviously, it was you. You were the newest and biggest influence in Charlie's life. You kind of all arrived at the same time. And you too, Erika, you lied to my face as we sat down in that hotel and we spoke for 4 hours.
Yeah, I believe her here, guys. I believe her. Erika Kirk's a liar. I really need you guys to understand that. If you want me to make an entire video just breaking out every Erika Kirk lie, I mean, I can. I don't think I need to because I feel like Candace has already done it, and there's actually other YouTubers who've done it too. But like, I believe her here because Erika Kirk is a proven liar, and liars are the people you got to be careful with. You really do, especially a person who just lies all the time about the smallest things, like, you know, just plenty of stuff, the China stuff, the dating, just all kind of stuff.
But I want to be clear, it was different. You see, with Charlie, I could forgive him. We were always like brother and sister. We went on tours thereafter. But you didn't do it when you lied. You didn't do it out of naivety. You didn't do it because you were young and being pulled into the wrong direction by bad faith.
Wait, naivety? Is that a word? Wait a minute. You didn't do it out of naivety. Is that how you say that?
We were always like brother and sister. We went on tours thereafter. But you didn't do it when you lied. You didn't do it out of naivety. You didn't do it because you were young and being pulled into the wrong.
Maybe I'm an idiot, but I've never heard naivety before. I know what she's saying. I just wonder if that's how you pronounce it. I ain't never heard that word before.
Direction by
Naivety.
bad faith actors. Andrew Colvett was never going rogue. You knew that. Every single evil thing that was done to me was done with your blessing. And I consider the onslaught of attacks that I had to endure, they were evil. Because you knew I was telling the truth, and you authorized people with an incredible amount of money to attack one of the few people in politics who was actually grieving your husband. You knew we had a deep friendship. You knew I was telling the truth about the Catholic thing, about everything. You allowed these people to lie and to say that Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019. I mean, it's crazy how much of a lie that was. You authorized it, and I now know that. The question is why? It was so cruel. It was so mean, right? Why impart that on someone who you know within a sea of snakes actually cared about Charlie and didn't want anything out of the organization? Maybe it's because I was like a loose end, one person that wasn't controlled by an organization. I'd just kind of proven that I'd rather lose everything to say something that I don't believe, least of all for money. I mean, maybe it's also because you have his phone. And when I revealed to the public that he had predicted his own death in remarkable detail, maybe you went back and you read the rest of those messages, the ones that I haven't yet revealed to the public, because in retrospect, those messages they're pretty terrifying because they're precise and it feels prophetic. Charlie was gifted. You know that. I know that. And the government most certainly knew that as well since he was a kid, which is why it was at least very interesting to me that you told the New York Times, something that most people didn't pay attention to, but you told the New York Times the night before his murder, Charlie's, and I'm going to quote this, you said that Charlie's adrenal glands were just going off. He couldn't sleep. I know enough about Charlie to know what that means. That means that Charlie was being bothered. He was probably having visions like he was in 2018, probably a clearer vision than the one that I had that you guys tried to mock, that danger was coming. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it wasn't about a Jezebel article written by some leftist. Please stop saying that because it's not true. I know Charlie, a leftist article didn't upset him in this way, didn't make him call a priest to pray over him. He thought someone was going to kill him. He did express that in writing. And you did not lose those text messages. You knew that. But Charlie and I spoke a lot about his third eye. That's why that sentence caught my attention in the article. He spoke about the street lamps that would go off when he would run, about the special school that he had to go to. He spoke about a lot of the things that were strange in our childhood, the testing that priest to pray over.
Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I typically don't believe in that type of stuff. The third eye, the Anunnaki, the whatever, the special mythical powers. I don't believe that stuff. But let me see if I can find it real quick. All right, I found the video. So as weird as what Candace Owens just said is, and again, I don't subscribe to or really, that's not my thing. Okay, we don't do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, X-Men, space mutant powers on here, But what Candace Owens is saying can actually be backed up by Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk actually mentioned something similar. Let's go ahead and play it.
It'll be a sign for you to know that Charlie's with you. in something. When we first started dating, we were walking to dinner one night, and this happened a lot. The lights would start to flicker. And he'd look up at the light and be like, it's so weird. This happens to me a lot. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. So our whole dating and whole marriage, anytime we'd be in a room and a light started to flicker, he would just look at me and wink. It was like our little thing.
It's power.
Yeah. It's a total frequency thing. And so the night everything happened when we were in Utah, I was in a hotel room by myself, in the bedroom portion by myself. And the bathroom light was on, and it just was a strobe light all night, and I was like, part of me couldn't sleep because it was a strobe light. The other part of me couldn't sleep because of how just my world has just crumbled. And the other part of me couldn't sleep because I was like, baby, I feel you.
All right. So yeah, pretty much confirming what Candace said here. I'm going to play that part again, talking about adrenal glands and third eyes and stuff. I don't know. But Erika Kirk did confirm that weird stuff happened with her husband. So Candace isn't completely far off here.
What that means that Charlie was being bothered. He was probably having visions like he was in 2018, probably a clearer vision than the one that I had that you guys tried to mock, that danger was coming. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it wasn't about a Jezebel article written by some leftist. Please stop saying that because it's not true. I know Charlie, a leftist article didn't upset him in this way, didn't make him call a priest to pray over him. He thought someone was going to kill him. He did express that in writing, and you did not lose those text messages. You knew that. But Charlie and I spoke a lot about his third eye. That's why that sentence caught my attention in the article. He spoke about the street lamps that would go off when he would run, about the special school that he had to go to. He spoke about a lot of the things that were strange in our childhood, the testing that both of us had to endure. We spoke about the fact that we could both astral project. You know all of this, of course. You have his phone, and how surprised we.
The astral projection is weird. It's definitely a weird thing. It's something that, it's one of those supernatural things, but there are documents of the CIA, I believe, like actually testing that and trying to accomplish that and do it. So just want to point that out there for those who are like, what are you talking about? That the astral projection thing, that's been a thing for a while, especially in regards to intelligence trying to make that happen.
When we learned that not everybody does that naturally, sleep paralysis, you name it. We had conversations about it. And
sleep paralysis,
Charlie's adrenal glands were going off. It was probably maybe for the very same reason that I pulled my kids out of school days before he was murdered, because I sensed danger was coming. And since we are being open, I also want you to know that it struck me as odd when you said in that interview with Jesse Waters that you wanted Charlie to have a good night's sleep. He was so excited. So you sent him to sleep in his daughter's room. It just registered me as a little bit backwards. If I wanted my husband to have a good night's sleep because of something he had the next day, I'd probably let him sleep in the room, and I would sleep in my daughter's room. I flagged that. I also thought what was interesting is that you said,
all right, this video has been 30 minutes, so I don't know how long she goes. I feel like she goes for a pretty long while, but I think you guys kind of get the gist. Oh yeah, she goes for a really long while. This is like a whole 30-minute letter to Erika Kirk, which is interesting to say the least. Trial coming up. Trial's going to be interesting when that happens. I'll definitely be covering that as well. And yeah, all I want to say, guys, is this is going to be a very interesting year. I mean, seriously, buckle up. This is going to be the year where we get the truth, I think. I think we're going to start to get to the bottom of a lot of this stuff. We're going to see what's really going on with Turning Point USA, whether Candace Owens is wrong or not, who actually killed Charlie Kirk, I guess. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So anyway, that's today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can always go ahead and get yourself a membership, become a member of the channel, all that good stuff. But more importantly, definitely make sure you subscribe if you haven't. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.